The reading from Emmett Fox is How Much Can God Do? The Bible tells us what the Bible tells us that God can heal us, that he can deliver us from our destructions, that he lifts up the weak, that he leads and guides us. But just how much can God do? Well, God can do almost anything. And that may sound strange to those who have been taught that with God, all things are possible. But there are some things that God cannot do. And it is fortunate for us that this is true. God is a God of love, and he rules by principle. And because this is so, he cannot change his nature. He cannot break divine law. He cannot bring disease or suffering or lack. He is always the loving Father, ready to hear and answer prayers. How much can God do? He can bring heaven here and now, not by breaking the law, which is impossible to God, but by fulfilling it. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. From Psalm 119. How much can God do? So Liz, when you are ready, you can share with us your thoughts for tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My sharing tonight is called Connecting with What Matters. I like this quote from Dr. Seuss. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. The idea for connecting with what matters actually came from a personal event that happened back in the 70s when my kids were teenagers. They were jumping 70s and 80s. We had a stairwell, and as they grew taller, they would jump up and see if they could touch the eave that was hanging over the stairwell. So of course there would be a lot of fingerprints on that eve, and I was the guy trying to keep the house clean. So it could be very irritating to me. Fast forward 30 years, back in the 80s, I was living on my own for the first time. The kids were grown and gone, and I had a similar stairway with the overhanging eave. And guess what? It was clean all the time. And I would have given anything to see fingerprints on that stairwell and on that eve. So that was where the idea from the talk came from. And we will each have different things that we connect with inside, whether it's memories or people or events or a way of being. Very often what annoys us is what matters much, or it's information about the fullness of our life. Here's a talk from Brian Andreas, Story People. The days go by with so many little things that don't seem to matter until they're no longer there. And suddenly they're all that ever mattered. Right now is a time of disruption, shift, and change. I have read several commentaries that suggest it is an opportunity to have compassion and understanding for those who have gone before us, especially from the Great Depression and other times where life changed forever. For many of us, it is an opportunity to interact with loved ones and neighbors and co-workers in a whole new way. An opportunity to notice, value, appreciate, and even be silently annoyed at times. But these end up being the things that really matter. Eckhart Tolle has some comments about disruption, and he believes that it's to bring us into the present moment. Stop, look, and listen. Become aware of your thoughts. Consciousness is opened by this because it takes us out of the thinking mind. What is the narrative you are playing or thinking? Loss, limitation, fear, tomorrow, next week, future. This is not reality. This is what our mind creates. Awareness of this mind state is the beginning of awakening consciousness. Without this awareness, we are the victim of our mind thinking. Are any of these thoughts a reflection of reality right now, or is it a story? So we say to ourselves, I don't have to believe every thought in my mind. In the full presence of this moment, there is nothing to fear, let go, so we can let go of unhealthy mind activity and criticism of ourselves or anyone else. Another story that is really kind of sad, but it really impacted me, that goes with this whole idea, is actually from Dear Abby. And this is a mother that wrote in to Dear Abby. The letter I'm enclosing with mine was written to you in March 2000 by my daughter. She never mailed it. Kelsey died in her sleep of respiratory failure. She was only 13. So this was a letter that the 13-year-old was writing to Dear Abby. My mother is a workaholic. She works at work, at home, after dinner, and after all hours. She never has any fun. I'm afraid she's on the verge of a nervous breakdown, if not already over the edge. I've talked to her, so have my brother and my father. How do I send a message to mom that life is not just paperwork and deadlines, but fun and happiness, and signed out of ideas? And the mother says, oh, how I wish I could change the working, the volunteering, etc., and spend more time. But that's impossible now. Imagine, just imagine. What I can do is be a better mother to my son and pass along my daughter's message to your readers. That is certainly something to reflect on and maybe apply to our own lives. You know, am I being present? Am I in gratitude? We get so irritated sometimes with things around us, like the noise, the mess, the whatever it is. And yet it's a sign that there's life around us. That doesn't mean accept unacceptable. It doesn't mean accept abuse or anything like that. But remember that there's always something right in every situation. There's always something good in every situation. So it can be highly beneficial for us to see the good. One person that I forget who wrote this, the 7 wonders of the world are actually to see, to hear, to taste, to touch, to feel, to love, and to laugh. That's a very unique way of looking at it. The most precious things in life cannot be built by hand or bought by man. That's part of being in the moment and being able to see and experience that. This is from Jeff Foster. This moment is not life waiting to happen, goals waiting to be achieved, words waiting to be spoken, connections waiting to be made, regrets waiting to evaporate, aliveness waiting to be found, enlightenment waiting to be gained. No, this is it. This moment is life. Because everything is energy, the entire time we are being a me, there is a constant flow of atoms into and out of us. That's recognized by, that's a comment by Bill Harris. So if we can be at peace in the moment with the impermanence and the shift and the change, then we can experience the energy of that all the way through our system. From Mother Teresa, do small things with great love. Another way to be very much in the present. Maybe another way is journaling what we have gratitude for, what we're excited about, what we're willing to release, and what we're willing to welcome in. As I mentioned before, look for the good in every situation. Life is gray, not black and white. This way we can experience deep gratitude. Stop blaming, including blaming self. We might ask, now, can I see this another way? Look into the situation and see if you can see it or feel into it in another way. And practice non-resistance to what's happening. Yes, I see that. I also see this. And be in a state of allowing. It can make things a lot smoother, especially during these times. Practice being silent inside and listen for intuitive hints and clues. We all have the inner GPS. The answer is not out there. The answer is inside. I embrace the beginnings that are unfolding. I am rooted deeply in my truth. I honor my dreams and desires. I choose the path forward that is my best interest. I support and welcome the manifestation of my desires with every choice. I open to healthy soul-connected relationships, and I'm supported fully by the universe. So be it. And that is for each one of us to focus on and hold in our heart space. The author of that is unknown. It is not me. I just found it to be beautiful, so I wanted to share it.